Good morning. How are you today? Welcome to Supernatural Saturday meditation portion of our weekly program. And we're going to be covering a very interesting subject, getting clear of your mind. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand, what mind is. Mind is merely the collection of thoughts and information stored in the physical body. It's information. It's not who you are, it's information about who you think you are. And when you're able to make that distinction between who you are and who you think you are, you move into a position of being able to actually have real choice over what you will or will not think, what you can and cannot feel. It can only happen when you know you have the choice to do that. We do this meditation portion because it makes it really easy for people to gradually make the distinction between themselves as an awareness and their body and their mind as an instrument that you're using while you're here in this physical medium of experience. Good morning, everybody. Yes. Good morning. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Allison. Hello, Lauren. And without being able to make the distinction between your thoughts, your emotions, and your body, you have confusion. I want to repeat that. Without you being able to make a distinction between your thoughts, your emotions, and your body, you have confusion. And when you are confused, it's difficult to make good choices, creatively or otherwise. If you believe that you are the information that you remember about who you think you are, it will confuse you too, because a lot of what you think you are, you didn't even choose that. You didn't even choose most of the thoughts that you have in your mind right now. They were given to you by the environment, and you picked them up through your 5 physical senses. But the thoughts in your mind are not you. The emotions that are in your body are not you. They're the energy, the substance that you use to generate actions of creation. That's what emotions are. They're a form of energy that moves through the nervous system that causes the matter of your body to react and respond to that energy in specific ways. The anger energy causes anger expressions. The joy energy causes joy expressions. Most people don't make a distinction between the emotions and who they are as an awareness. Just as most people do not make a distinction, well, I should maybe just say many people don't make that distinction between the thoughts that are in their mind and the awareness that observes those thoughts. One of the goals of today is to give you the opportunity to help you get clear of your subjectivity to thoughts and emotions and body, to realize and remember that they are instruments to be utilized by you, not for you to be subjective to. You've heard us say many times the importance of not finding yourself being subjective to what you see on your television screens or hear from other people, to be able to differentiate yourself from the information that you're receiving so that you can make a decision about whether or not you want to accept information as being true or false, because the moment you accept information, whether it is true or false, your life will be governed by your acceptance of that information. When you are able to turn your mind off, turn your emotions down, and have your body still and quiet, you move yourself into a position of being able to deliberately, intentionally create. Not what you think you're supposed to create based on what you were told to be or say or do, but based on what you really want and need as a being, not as a personality. The name that you live your life by up to this point is the name that was placed upon you by the environment. It is the name that your parents or the authorities that were taking care of that body when it came into this world gave it a name. You did not choose the name that you think that you are right now. It was given to you. It's not who you are, but it was a name that was given to you, so you have a reference point. You were given a reference point about who you are supposed to be here. So what if you are able to let go of that reference point and discover a brand new reference point for who you are? Today's meditation is about giving yourself the opportunity to release yourself, to just let go of that reference point of who you think you are, to experience what you experience yourself as being without having to refer to what you remember or what you think might happen, but to who you really are right in this moment. Because let us tell you that who you are in this moment is exquisite. It is remarkable. It's what you are. When you make that distinction between who you are as a being, recognizing the difference between memory and thought and emotion and matter and your awareness, the moment that distinction starts to become a reality for you, then the process of actually creating a life that you want to create becomes a reality. It becomes more than a possibility. It becomes a reality the moment you can distinguish your awareness from the thoughts that go on in your mind, most of which are just memories, and the emotions that are connected to those thoughts, which are just memories, or the thoughts that go on in your mind that are considerations about the future based on those memories. And from what we're saying right now, we hope you understand that most of you are living in your memories. Very few of you are living in this moment as you would naturally choose to. You look at parents with children that often make children eat things that the children naturally try to reject, and they force them to eat it anyway, and eventually the child accepts that this is what it's supposed to do, even though it articulated in expression by spitting that food out or trying to eat this other thing. It tried to articulate at the level that it could what it really needed. And often the environment conditions many of us to believe that what it tells us is more important than what we can know about ourselves, what you actually do know about yourself. And in order to get back to what you actually know about yourself, learning to turn your thoughts off, because you can actually turn your thoughts off. And when you turn your thoughts off, it changes what happens in your body. When you can dial down emotions and literally dial them down, turn them down, lower the volume, bring stillness to your emotions, which you can, because you came into this world in stillness. You came into this world as a being in peace. When you were born, you were at war in yourself. You had no conflict, internal conflict when you were born. Internal conflict began when the needs of your being conflicted with what the environment around you was telling you was true or false. And then conflict began between that part of you that lives in peace and the part of this world that has dictated to you who it thinks you should be. Albeit, this is how the old model of creation and raising children has always been for many thousands and thousands of years. But it is not the only model. But in being able to demonstrate for yourself, to experience your thoughts being turned off by you, literally letting your thoughts go, saying, I will not pay attention to these thoughts. I'm going to take my attention, I'm going to place my attention on silence. And if you can keep your attention on silence, you pull away from all the thought, all the emotion that goes with those thoughts. You begin to pull yourself out of that soup. into this place of silence. And in what you can know, you can experience as a being is very different than experiencing what you already know. And the process is not complicated. It's fairly simple. It's a matter of gently breathing, giving your body permission to be still and quiet, allowing yourself to take your attention away from your thoughts, which many people today have a difficult time doing because there is so much around them telling them to think this and believe this and trust this and know this and don't know this, that they have forgotten that they are actually able to not listen to the world, to return to silence. And the moment you experience a return to silence, you'll find a joy in just being in that place of peace that you naturally live in. That place of peace necessitates and cultivates your natural ability to create deliberately and consciously that which you know will be in harmony with you, to be and do what you know is right for you. So many people struggle with eating what they eat and what they don't eat. So many people struggle with drugs and alcohol, not understanding that their need for comfort, their need to feel good, even though they know it will not come from that, they believe that just the sensorial stimulation will give them relief from their suffering, which it does not, of course. We see that in eating disorders, and we see that in people that use chemical substances to deal with emotional challenges that they have. Not to say that these things cannot be effective in certain instances or temporarily, but they are not a long-term solution for long-term peace and freedom, which needs to be cultivated from within. And so in getting the body still and quiet and peaceful, getting the mind knowing you can let your thoughts go, you can let your memories go, and you can still exist in that transition from thought and body to silence, that transition, when you begin to give yourself permission to make that transition, I do not have to pay attention to the thoughts. I can let them go. I do not have to pay attention to those old emotions. I can pay attention to silence. And as you shift your perception from the old self to the silence, you have a clean canvas of redesigning and recreating the nature of your expression as you would like it to be, as opposed to the way the world has conditioned you to believe that that self that you are has to be. There is what the world has conditioned you to be, and there's what you really are. And in the process of meditation, you begin to remember the nature of who you are as a being. Getting clear of your mind means to liberate your attention from thought, to restore it to silence. And in that place of silence, you begin to know what you do not know. You begin to remember what you have forgotten. You get to as an individual consciousness, separate of the interpretations of other people and what they think you should be and do and are. And so our activity today in this meditation is very simple to begin. And you may take this process with you, and you may use it as often and as frequently as you would like to. You can stay in it for a short time, or you can stay in it for a long time. We often find that people that move from thought and emotion to silence and experience the limitless space of being that comes in that silence, many people want to just remain in that, sometimes for hours, because it is so liberating to realize you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are an awareness that has the capability to restructure and reorganize thoughts and awareness. Matter and emotion are your servants, not your master. So when you get to that place of silence, you may remain there. It is the beginning stage what we are discussing today, and what you will do today is the beginning stage of moving from the self that you often find yourself in conflict with to the self that is conflict-free and therefore able to create and express and imagine very differently than what you can with what you already know. It is what you do not know that gives you the movement in this world to create in the unique and explicit way that you came here to do. You came to know that anyone hearing these words knows in their heart have a purpose. Your difficulty in finding that purpose hasn't been that there's something wrong with you. Your difficulty in finding that purpose is that everybody else and everything else has told you who you are supposed to be. And yet you already are who you are, but you need to move away from what you know to begin to remember what you do not know. And as paradoxical as that sounds, it's actually only a simple experience that once you begin to have it, and you realize the peace that comes with that, curiosity begins to awaken. The idea that you can simply take your attention away from your thoughts, that you could have your body sit still and quiet, or have it lie down still or quiet, or even have it stand still and quiet. The very nature of getting your body to do something is your assertion of dominion over matter as a consciousness. The same is true for your thoughts and your emotion. That movement in awareness where you pull your attention away from thoughts, you pull your attention away from emotion as you keep your body still, moves you away from what you currently know towards something other than that. And it's that something that's other than what you know that you will find the beginning of your freedom as a being. It is not what you know that will free you, because if what you know would free you, you would be free, all of you right now. If what you know could free you, you would all be free. It is what you do not know that will free you from what you do know. And in order to make that transition, you must be willing for at least a little bit of time, and as often as possible, release yourself from what you know, so that you may know what you do not know. And it is several simple steps. It is not meant to be a complex process, although we want to articulate in as many ways as we can why this process is important and why it will work for you if you're persistent and patient, because the part of you that thinks it knows believes that is true and real, and you're in conflict with that because most of what you believe and know is in conflict with who you are. And this transition from what you know to what you do not, again, is designed to be very simple. It starts with getting the body engaged, because you realize that you can get your body engaged to breathe. You can make your body breathe. All of you can do this. Even if you are very confused and very uncertain, if we ask you to breathe and take a deep breath, your body will do this for you. You know this. You can do this right now. You can ask your body to breathe. And it will breathe for you because it is meant to be your servant, not your master. And that very act of instructing your body to breathe is not an assertion that comes from the environment. It is something that comes from within this system. It's you within the house that says, do this, and the body breathes. And the very act of breathing is an assertion of your awareness over matter. And the very nature of breathing and exhaling gives the body the right to release, to let go. So when you breathe in and you breathe out, you're giving the body, by that choice of breathing, your permission to release and to relax and to let go. You're giving your body that permission. And that permission, when the body realizes you're actually going to give it to it, the body begins to relax. It's not a matter of will it or may it. It simply does when you give it permission to do that. You breathe in and you exhale, and the body begins to let go because you're giving it permission to do so. You give the body permission to relax. And if the body gets uncomfortable or seeks to be distracted, simply breathe through the distraction and gently assert, and give it permission to relax. You give the body permission to relax. Just as you give the body permission to open and close its hand, or to turn on a light switch, or to get a glass of water, you give your body permission to relax. And you continue to give it permission to relax until it is relaxed. It is very simple. The process is simply teaching the body, again, that it can follow your direction and not the direction of the world anymore. And in that process of getting the body relaxed, we move to another layer. And that other layer is the place of thought. The place of thought where memory and concern about the future, because of those memories, come into play. And we move your awareness to that place of thought. But thought, too, as with your body, is there to follow your instruction. You simply use your breath to take your attention away from thought. And in that process of breathing, and as you exhale, releasing the thought, releasing all the thought, letting it go. Just the same way as you can open your hand. You can ask your hand to open. You can give your thoughts permission to be still, to be quiet, to be peaceful. You give them permission, just as you give your permission to your body to relax. And any time the body or the mind try to think or become restless, you simply use the breath that you have command over. You use the breath and gently give the body, the thoughts, permission to let go. And as you continue to assert that upon the body and mind gently, you begin to allow them to become still and quiet. You give them permission to not be active. You give the mind permission to not think for a while. You give it permission. And you move your awareness away from body and thought. As that happens, you'll notice that emotion begins to diminish. And if emotion gently tries to assert itself again, you simply breathe. Give the emotion permission to relax. Give body, thought, and emotion permission to be still with your breathing. The reason we are being so focused on this at this time is it is important that you learn that you are not governed by the world around you, but you are a creator from the world within you. So you must detach from the world of the environment and reconnect with the world of your being. And in that connection, you are liberated from thought, emotion, and body. You move towards silence of being. And in that place of silence of being, you might think of it as a workshop, a place that you as an awareness can go. You are not disturbed by the world of thought, the world of body, the world of emotion, where you're not disturbed, where you can begin to rework or recreate or refabricate the way you want your mind to think, the way you want your emotions to be generated by those thoughts that you would choose to think, and the way the body therefore behaves, because we know very clearly that the energy of emotion, when it moves through the body, causes very precise expressions in form. And so coming to this place now, where you understand the fundamentals of giving your body permission through your breath to relax, to give it permission to be still and quiet and peaceful, and then to give the thinking part of your mind, where all those thoughts and memories and concerns about the future are, to give that part of your system permission to not be active, to be still, to be quiet, to be peaceful, to be calm. And you are using your breath. You are using the breath of the body to deliberately articulate that instruction into the body, into the mind, the almost identical way in which your environment, when you were being raised, gave instruction to your mind and body to be a certain way, to be the personality that you think you are at this moment. So now you become, as the mother and father were to your body, you become that for your own mind and body. You begin to restructure it to be what you need it to be, not what it has been conditioned to function as for you. Hopefully, as we are walking through this process, you are doing as we've suggested, and you are finding how actually simple and easy it is to use the breath to give the body permission to be still. How easy it is to begin to say to the thoughts, shh, be still, be still, be still, be still. And experiencing how emotions, through the deliberate act of giving your body permission to be still, quiet, through the deliberate act of giving your thoughts permission not to think, that you begin to restore yourself to silence, the emotions themselves will also diminish. Even if there are noises and distractions in the environment around you, you can simply use your breath to restore yourself to that silence, to give the mind and body permission to be still and quiet. You give them permission so they experience that. And that you, as the awareness directing those actions of the mind and body, begin to gain the fundamental knowledge of who you really are, that you are the awareness here to govern mind and body, not to be subjective to them. As you begin to remember that, well, that will be another discussion for another day. When you begin to remember that you are not your thoughts, that you are not your emotions, that you're not that body, that you have them as instruments for creating and designing the life you want to express in this dimension. But you are not that body, you have direction over it. You are not those thoughts, you have direction over them. But to know this means you have to step outside of them, to not be subjective to them, to make that distinction. There are very different understandings and knowings that come when you can put the mind and body aside for a while and just be the awareness that you are, to experience yourself as independent of thought, emotion, and body. Not separate from, independent from. In other words, there is an actual hierarchical structure. There is the captain and there is the crew, and you are the captain, and your thoughts and your emotions and your body are the crew that need to perform functions that you give them direction to do. And when you come to that awareness that they really will perform the functions that you give them, you come to a place of personal empowerment. Whereas in the old model where you've been told to think and feel and believe in very specific ways, and you still accept that, then you will be in conflict with yourself and you will feel confusion and uncertainty, not because you want to, but because the mind and the emotions and the body are operating in contradiction to who you actually are, what you came here to be and do. And yet, in this simple step-by-step process of getting your body still, your thoughts still, your emotions become still, and your awareness is in silence, and just being in the silence. Once you are able to be in that silence, next time we come together like this, we will discuss the process of recreation of your mind and body. How do you recreate your mind, your emotions, and your body? Because your parents and your environment created the mind and body and emotions that you currently have. Your televisions, your environment is responsible for creating the mind and the body and the emotions that you think are you. And yet you are actually able to create the mind, body, emotions that you need to express yourself as you intended to here. So you now assume the role that the environment has perhaps up to this time been for you in directing you to be who you are. You can now move into becoming the environment for your own mind, your own emotions, and your own body. You now become the environment that begins to nurture and feed and provide thought and behavior for the body that allows it to articulate in a fashion and in a manner that liberates you from your suffering and restores your creative expression to your life. And so we invite you for the next 5 minutes to simply follow these simple steps with us for about 5 minutes. And you may elect to do this longer or shorter as you might wish to do. But give yourself 5 minutes to simply breathe with us, to breathe and hold that breath for a moment, and then exhaling and giving the body permission to relax. When you exhale, you're giving your body permission and all the muscles permission to relax, to turn loose, to let go. You're giving it permission. Each inhale, you hold for a few seconds. And you exhale, giving all the muscles in the body permission to relax. If any part of the body seems uncomfortable, gently breathe again and deliberately give that part of the body permission to relax. In deliberately breathing like this, you are asserting your authority gently over the body by breathing in, holding, and releasing, allowing every muscle to relax, every nerve to be still, every organ to rest, giving the body that permission. With each breath now, you allow that process to be repeated. Each breath giving the muscles permission to relax. If your mind tries to have a thought, simply breathe and release the thought. And allow the muscles to go deeper. And then move your awareness as the body continues to breathe like this. Move your awareness to where there is thought and memory and emotion. And give all those thoughts, all those memories, all those emotions permission to be still. Use your breath and breathe into where the thoughts are. And as you exhale the body, give those thoughts permission to be still. Just let them go. As you exhale, just let the thoughts gently go as you exhale. Become aware of how it feels when you release those thoughts. Just letting all thought, all memory, all emotion go with each breath now. When you breathe in, hold the breath. Exhale and release the thoughts. Give them permission to be still, quiet, and peaceful. If any emotions or concerns about the future or past come to your attention, simply breathe. Hold the breath. And as you exhale, letting the thoughts, memories, future considerations go. And allowing them to be still and quiet, giving the thoughts permission to be still, to be quiet, to be peaceful. Now use your breath and shift your awareness onto silence. Just move your awareness onto silence. Use your breath and breathe. And as you exhale, allow silence to capture your attention. Give attention to silence, to no memory, to no thought. Just be in silence. Each breath, use it to release thought, memory, and emotion. Use each breath to give the body permission to be still and quiet, deliberately allowing and releasing muscles, thoughts, and emotions, just giving them permission to be still. And quite simply like this, if you repeat this process, you can extend the time of each step so that every ligament and tendon, even the marrow of your bones, can go into a place of peace and stillness. That the thoughts can be released. As you release tension from your muscles, you can release thoughts from your awareness. Just give them permission with your breath to be released. This is as simple as we can make it at this stage. As you establish that feeling where the body is releasing itself, where the mind is now less active, your emotions are calmer and quieter, as you gain experience with cultivating that, because you have to cultivate it. Just like the environment cultivated who you think you are, you get to cultivate silence, a still, quiet mind and body. You cultivate them. And for some of you, it may take a little bit more time to cultivate or train your mind and body to be still and silent. But if you are persistent, you will succeed. You must make time for it as often as possible in the beginning. But once you gain the awareness that you can direct your body to be still and quiet, and you can direct the mind to be thoughtless, and you can be in a state of peace, well, the next time we come together, we will look at the process of creation. When you're in that place of peace, and your mind is not remembering or concerned about the future, and your body is undistracted, then you can consider, what do I really want to create from this place of a silence, an environment where you are the environment. You are the environment for the mind and your body. We thank you so much for being present with us today. We will look forward to seeing you next week when we repeat this process again. There is a question we have been guided to answer here from one who says, my father seems about to die. What is my soul contract with him? Thank you. Your dear father shall never die in the sense that we understand. And the only contract that you need to recognize, which is always unbroken, is the contract of love. That whether he is in that form expressing as the individual you call your father, or whether he is in another individual expressing as them, your father cannot die, nor can your brother, nor can your sister, nor can your mother. The conceptions of death that you understand them are not the same as what you know from the conditions of the transmutation of biology. Transmutation of matter is an ongoing process. We know you understand this even from the rudimentary sciences that you have cultivated. So this conception of death is an illusion of matter, but we can assure you that the contract that you must understand is one of love. That love that surpasses time and space and matter. To recognize that the love is the most significant element in your being that connects you to all others in a dynamic and incredible way, versus the separateness that the vibration of fear does. The idea that there is death creates fear, and fear is the great lie. Fear is the great lie that we have become accustomed to through our experience of matter, but it is not in truth the truth. It is simply one layer of expression of your being in one layer of an infinite spectrum of consciousness. So ensure that your contract in your heart is clear, and you will understand that when this one leaves the form, they will not separate from your life in the sense that we know. They may not have that physical mechanism of expression. That changes. You evolve, you change, you alter your consciousness, just the same way as a child growing up does not remain in one pair of shoes. So too, you will not remain in one body as you evolve and cultivate a deeper understanding and knowing of who and what you are and your creative expression across many planes of consciousness. But this one is the one that you know as the Father. Wow. Thank you, Vio. Great question. Hello, Magnet. Yes. So thank you for that question. It's again an honor and a privilege to be able to be here and to do this with all of you. And yeah, this whole conception of death, you look at this device that we use, so many of us use now. If it is broken, it does not mean that the signal that can come through the device is gone. If I had two devices and one is broken, let's say they were the same device, and one is broken and one is not, and one works. The one that is broken simply does not have the way to transmit the signals for it anymore, but the signal still exists. So your father, your sister, your mother, your brother, they who have left the physical embodiment have not left existence. They've simply left the mechanism of expression of self through that medium. We want to wish you all much love and joy. Apply this simple process. If you are patient and persistent in recognizing your role of authority over that body, to have it sit, to be still, we can assure you, you will find the peace that is your natural state of being. The life that you seek is what you are. That which you're seeking is truly within you, but it is not, the body is not your source of life. The mind is not your source of identity. You are. And the moment you recognize your role over mind and body, your journey here will be much more exciting when you realize you are a creator, that you can create. And next week we shall visit that process of creation when you're in that space of silence, the process of creation. Much love, everyone. Have yourselves a wonderful, joyful day. I want to thank you guys for being with me today. Thank you so much. And we will see you next Saturday on Supernatural Saturdays meditation period. And for those of you that join me on the weekly show on Shortcuts, I'll see you on Monday for Shortcuts for Your Soul. Bye for now.